I would like to continue with the trust topic because you guys work with, both sides of the industry, right? Like the affiliates and operators. How can robust tracking solutions, the new technologies that we have been speaking today, help build a more transparent and trustworthy partnership?
One thing that's very important in advanced tracking is people want to own their data, right? So if you look back 5 years in the industry, it was very transactional in the sense that I would have an affiliate website, a top list, would drive traffic to that site through whichever channels. And then once the user has clicked on a claim bonus or play now or whatever CTA, they're kind of lost into a black hole where we don't really know what's happening with them. So, we're now getting into facing challenges with search engines and ranking and, channels where there's regulation, where it's becoming more important for us to own our own players. But that requires attribution, and attribution can be done on many levels. And even between platforms, their models of attribution changes wildly between first click, last click, where did they come in? And because we're working in such a, small industry relatively, it's often difficult to say, well, this person came from a network, but then they went to this website. So who should be credited the conversion? And owning that data can be done in a few ways. And I think what's important, postbacks don't just solve this issue. Inherently, it requires, additional attribution where you're able to allocate the click ID to a player ID or even to your first party data before the click happens. So you might have 3 or 4 attribution points where I've got a website that has user generated content or a forum and they're signed up. They click on a link. I can now have a click ID at the click level, but that needs to allocate to a user ID in my system. And then once the sign up happens, I want that to relate to a player ID from the partner system. So it gets quite complicated, but the best way for trust building is obviously to be more transparent in terms of, I don't expect an operator to send me, the email address of that player, but if they can return the player ID and I can map that to something meaningful in my system, it makes it a lot easier for us to see how those behaviors are growing or falling and how they're changing over time.